This short video is about how to progress in your career and will cover topics such as the importance of volunteering and networking. You'll hear from a range of museum professionals and myself, Kim, from the Career Development Service.
I think it's important to use the role you're in to get as much experience as you can. Perversely, that's sometimes easier in a smaller museum where you do get dragged into doing lots of different things because there's no staff. But I think, make sure you try and get an opportunity to know about the finance side. Even if it's not in your role, try and get involved, know about the health and the human resources policies, just things like that which you might not come into your role. But if you think about what the senior management or your boss does in that role, how can you find out a bit more about it? Because I think that would help prepare. And just stick your nose into everything that's going, I would say, to try and broaden your experience.
Certainly in the early stages of my career, it was I think the flexibility helped me in that I was prepared to undertake all kinds of different activities within the museum, and then also prepared to move location to find work in the sector. So I think gaining voluntary experience, but also a very wide range, and not narrowing yourself down too early on.
I think keep an open mind is the biggest tip, really, and spot opportunities for what they are. One of my tutors at university said to me a long, long time ago, there are those people who go round pushing at doors that are marked pull. And it's always stuck with me. And actually I would take it further than that. You have to push on doors that look as if they're locked, because sometimes they're actually not locked and they open quite easily, provided you equip yourself with the right strengths to open them.
LinkedIn in its simplest form is a space for you to have a professional online presence. You can create a profile detailing your experience and qualifications, and then you're able to connect or link in with other professionals. However, if you use LinkedIn well, it could be a fantastic tool to help you contribute to professional networks and find jobs. If you type museums into the search bar and then click on the Groups tab, you can see that currently there are almost 500 groups relating to museums. Some of them are general and lots of them are more specialist groups. Now, these groups will often post jobs, news, or individuals might ask questions and share best practice from across the sector, so you can really learn more about what's going on. You can then contribute to these conversations and become part of the community. You can also search for jobs just like a normal job site. Networking is a key way to gain further insight into the sector you're interested in progressing in. So you can invite a contact for an informal chat, which we call an informational interview. Now, you should go to this meeting with a series of questions which will give you a better idea about what's involved in the role and whether you would like that type of work. Now, remember that although you may want to find out information, it's also about helping other people, as networking is a two-way process. So think about if you can offer them solutions to any problems they're facing or bring a fresh perspective. And that way you'll be able to build integrity and trust within your network. The more people you meet and are introduced to, the larger your network becomes. And it's important to keep in touch with your network, as you never know when someone may be able to help you in the future or even offer you a job.
What we look for in a candidate is a well-rounded candidate. It's quite likely that person, whoever they are, might have to spend some time on front of house. So even if your experience is working in a cinema in the holidays, that counts. That's for us, that's a transferable skill. And I think it's matching that person to the job. A few years ago, we employed a sort of a buildings and museum front of house supervisor. Actually, what we didn't need was someone who was an expert in, Grecian pots. We needed someone who could run a building and run a staff team. So actually his experience of managing Cineworld was really invaluable. And he did have a libraries background, which helped. But I think don't forget the stuff outside the museums world as well. That is important, and we would count that as transferable skills.
So yes, certainly one of the things that it's good to see on a CV is that somebody has practical experience of the aspect of the work that they're applying for, whether that's paid or voluntary. They're equally valid, because just having had that hands-on in whatever sphere is, they'll bring that knowledge with them and it will be useful.
Okay, we wouldn't look at a difference really between the paid and voluntary. I mean, sometimes the paid roles have a bit more depth to them, so that they count that way, but no, either way is fine with us. In fact, if a job says you need 12 months experience, you know, and 6 months of that is volunteering in the field, that's fine by our standards.
There's a range of resources and activities which you can use to help explore these ideas further. To access these resources, follow the instructions on the screen now.